User Mountain Chemist 910 says, I was raised an atheist. My partner just stopped smoking weed cold turkey, and his religious trauma has come back in full force. What can I say to help console? This one isn't close to home.
Not at all.
I don't even know what they're talking about.
We have no idea.
Longer posts, but they're great posts, and these are real people, and if you ever see this and this is who you are, thank you so much for being vulnerable. Hi, hoping to get some advice. I'm trying to figure out ways to tell my partner when he has trauma flare-up. My partner had gone in the bad habit of chain smoking weed for a couple of months to deal with his stress and recently decided to quit cold turkey to break the habit. It's been a rough 2 weeks, and his anxiety has been bad, and he's having very bad physical symptoms of withdrawal. Tell me about it. With his anxiety and added anxiety from the bad physical symptoms, his strong religious trauma has reared its ugly head, and he's constantly thinking about it, especially when he's having those physical reactions. For added context, we are a gay couple. He was raised Catholic. Enough said. I was very fortunate to have been raised atheist. Due to this, however, I have no idea what to say to him when he's having these thoughts, painful about religious mumbo jumbo. He's got lots of thoughts about if this is punishment for something he's done and existential stressors, etc. It's hard to see him so fucked up. I do not know what the right things are to tell him in these moments. Mountain Chemist 910, so sorry. I think like going through, when your partner is dealing with a lot of depression and anxiety, like when you're in a romantic relationship and you love them with all your heart and you're feeling strong and happy in life, and they fall into the depressive anxiety part of life, job loss, sickness, death in the families, loss of pets, you name it.
Yeah.
When your partner is dealing with severe depression and anxiety, you as the other partner you suffer from that, right? It's like, that's it. Like, I'm here, faults and all. Part of that love is learning how to be what your partner needs during these really hard times. Sometimes what your partner needs is to get serious help on their own, independently. Whether there's religious trauma or not, quitting weed after chain smoking it, habitual use of marijuana, quitting it cold turkey causes freaking some of the worst withdrawals. Like everything has withdrawals that you quit cold turkey, right? That's why you're supposed to like taper off these things. I feel like it's like a certain personality too that's just like, I'm done. That's how I am. So I get it.
And it's always the same people that are like, I'm smoking every second of my life.
Right.
Those people are the ones that are like, I can quit cold turkey.
Yeah.
It's like, but you smoked more than most people in the room here.
Yeah.
My advice for the partner that was raised atheist and wrote this, you can't say the right thing. Religious trauma is different for everybody. It's not, oh, what do I say? It's not about saying anything. I think the biggest fear that people who struggle with religious trauma is, one, they've done the wrong thing by leaving the faith because they were raised in it. And also they're alone because they've left it. And especially I would assume a couple that is a gay couple breaking the biggest rule in the Bible, if anything, you're going to have a lot of that guilt. And so if I were on their side as the atheist, not knowing what to say, it's you let them know they are consistently loved and they have a place and a home no matter what happens. Because I feel like the biggest fear I have when it comes to trauma is that I'm alone now, that I've given up my religion, because I used to have a community of people that I could always go to for prayer. I could always go to for whatever. And no matter who I am as a person, they're going to forgive me because I'm a Christian. But now that I'm not, I don't have that forgiveness anymore. And I don't have that self-love.
Totally. That's like what role the atheist partner plays. Yeah. It's interesting too, like hearing when someone says, I have no idea, like being raised atheist versus being raised evangelical Christian or whatever, like those are such striking contrast differences, like such completely opposite upbringings. How would that atheist partner know how to manage someone dealing with such severe religious trauma? Religious trauma comes out in almost all the forms of anxiety. Like if you suffer from religious trauma, in my experience, like that's what kind of seeps into like all throughout the cracks of your life. Why does marijuana help so well with something like religious trauma? It's typically because your parents probably didn't love you unconditionally. And without that unconditional love and support, every area of your life is being judged or gaslit, or undermined. And so you develop this sort of belief system that there's no such thing as unconditional love, or like coddling, if you will, like the real love of a mother and father that's like, we support you no matter what you believe or what you want to do. So what happens is you smoke weed and that mother ganja comes over and is like, hi baby, did you want to watch a movie? Did you want to eat some food? Did you want to take the dog for a walk? Did you want to garden? Because I'm here with you all day. How about a little massage? How about a little joke? How about a little time? I'm here for you. Want some ice cream? Like that's mother ganja. And when you had a mother that was kind of like, or a father that's like, yeah, the way you're thinking right now,
it's wrong.
is wrong. Oh, that person you love, you can't love them because you're having there's something wrong with you.
There's something wrong with you.
Because being gay is a sin. So when you have like that
love
as
your most important love.
Mother Ganja that's like the mother, man.
Yeah.
That's like, and it's the best. And that's why I love marijuana. That's why I'm smoking cannabis again. Okay. Because it's a love-hate relationship because we're constantly wanting to like have more control when you realize it's not about having more control. It's about how can I figure this out?
I mean, smoking weed, as much as it sounds like this person is or was smoking weed, chain smoking it, it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be smoking anything that much, I would say. And if you're smoking weed throughout every second of the day, there might be an issue there.
There might be, but
maybe not. I mean, some people thrive on weed 24/7 and it helps a lot of issues.
There's some cultures, there's some truths here. Inhaling any type of smoke is probably not good for your health. Your body does a really good job at breaking down toxins, but smoking all day, every day, you might get cancer. You might get COPD. You might get all those things.
But that's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying more of like the mental, mental thing of being high all the time.
If you have there's a lot of reasons like cultural or even religious or personal reasons. Like people can.
I wish I could ask Mountain Chemist who wrote this post on why they have to quit cold turkey. Why can't they?
I think I get it.
I mean, you get it because there's black and white. There's nothing else in this world. The same way you were raised with black and white.
Black and white.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
Then the atheist is like, I don't know what's up. It's always like this or that, this or that, this or that. Because you're told in the Bible, lukewarm life is bad. You can't be in between.
Yeah, don't be lukewarm.
Like you're not allowed to be balanced.
Yeah.
Balance is the key.
Yeah, balance is the key.
And so to learn balance, sometimes you got to go through fire, turning something off so aggressively because you want to have control. I have nothing ill to say about anyone else's process or partnership, but my partner had gotten in the bad habit of chain smoking weed for a couple months to deal with his stress and recently decided to quit cold turkey. The bad habit. Already the person that's smoking weed every day probably already has, from religious trauma, has such severe guilt from what they're doing. They don't need anybody to tell them. They have that there.
Yeah.
They know that they're using a substance so much it's drowning out the other part of everything else about life, but they can function and they can live in it and it's great and it helps with anxiety and it's like a blanket of love. So why wouldn't I use it all the time? But they're thinking this is wrong because I'm using this all the time. Like, who am I if I'm just using this all the time? I'm nobody.
That's also another part of the concept we don't really know. We don't know why they need to
But this is just from personal experience that I think that like there's so many layers to this. Why somebody would just cold turkey or why they're using it all the time and it's helping them. People use antidepressants every day because it helps them. If there was a way to take a marijuana pill in the morning that kept you like a nice low buzz high all day, people take it every day.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't kill your lungs. It'd be totally healthy and you'd just be like, we're good for 12 hours. My encouragement to the atheist would be, let's focus on the truth. Like, let's focus on who we are. How do we figure out who we are? Therapy, meditation, journaling, exercise, putting ourselves into tough positions, creative outlets, adding to our life, not taking away. When we take weed away so aggressively, fears of loss. When we didn't have parents that loved us conditionally, fears of loss. So every time we take something out that's comforting, there's this unbelievable amount of loss. And it's like, I can't do this. Nobody understands me. I just lost everything. And it's like, no. You didn't lose everything, but I know you're feeling like you just lost everything. That's really, really difficult. It sounds like when you're in such opposites, like me and my partner, even though she has her own version of religious trauma, but completely different levels of like being raised in the Christian evangelical faith. We are very different on this. She doesn't have any severe as bad as severe religious trauma. And so because of that, she's had to learn how to like work with my issues, right? Like how to balance them. Like, and same goes for me with them. And I think that like what works for us is we're both in therapy. We have our own therapist. We have a therapist in our relationship, our couples therapy. We're reading books in our relationship. But the most important thing is I have been in therapy for like years and I've done some really amazing soul searching plant medicine. Know how difficult it is coming off marijuana after habitually using it for so long. It is so hard. And that's just the period. Took me about 7 days before I felt safe. And then I started to deal after 4 months, no marijuana. And then I started to have such bad insomnia again, like so bad. I was sleeping like an hour a night that it was just time to bring the medicine back. And ever since I brought the medicine back, we're sleeping, baby. So trust the process, trust the process, trust the process.
And quitting weed cold turkey when you're smoking this much is going to have issues. 2 weeks after, if you're still not accepting this reality and you're having a tough time like this person is, the issue is so much deeper than the weed. The weed is probably not the issue. And so like you said, said, the next step is definitely start seeing a therapist. And if you don't like your therapist the first time, if you don't vibe with them the first time, get a different therapist until you vibe with your therapist so that you can get some help. Because in reality, the fear and anxiety and panic and depression you're feeling is from something deeper. It's not because your life is terrible. And it's not because you did anything wrong or you're guilty, especially in this situation. It's not because you're guilty that you're feeling this way or you're being punished. It's because you had an upbringing that traumatized you and brainwashed you, and your brain is not getting over it. And the only way to get over it is to attack that trauma. So you got to attack that trauma through therapy. And if not, maybe some pretty intense plant medicine therapy too.
And that's like where we get into the gray area of where we're not doctors, and maybe someday Zach will be. We are big believers in the psilocybin plant medicine. We're big believers. Marijuana is a plant medicine that is just, these are like blessings. These are gifts.
There's a place for each one.
These are, how do you say in Spanish? Regalos, right?
Regalos?
Regalos is gift.
Is it regalos?
I hope so. If it's not, then you'll know that my Duolingo is
not doing well.
Not doing well, but I am still on it. I'm still learning Spanish. And so every good thing can become a bad thing. But I don't want to say it's bad. It's more of like something that works can stop working. And you have to acknowledge when it's not working anymore.
But also having to be high 24/7 isn't working.
But it is working. That's why they're doing it 24/7.
We also just don't know their situation. They might just be fully disassociating and just not even dealing with life.
But I mean, like, but you see my point is that it's like like if you drink coffee back to back to back all day long, that would be so bad for you. Like anything that you use back to back to back that you can't let go of, you're chasing. And if you chase anything, you'll burn out. If you're going full speed on a treadmill, why don't you walk? Sometimes you got to just like commit. It's 4 a.m. It's 5 a.m. And you got to do that for a while. You just got to keep doing it. Then all of a sudden you're like, I got to figure my shit out. And so you figure it out. And so we're here.
Best of luck.
If you would like to be interviewed and you see this podcast, give us a call.
Yeah.
We have our own cell phone, business cell phone, call it.
And just know you're not alone.
You're not
alone.
You're
suffering and you're loved by more people than you believe.
So loved.